All right, everybody. Good afternoon. It's time. It's time for the first game preview of the season for a game that actually counts. So, we've got less than 24 hours before kickoff in Indianapolis, and it's time to talk about the game. We've spent a lot of time talking about this team and what they need to do and where they're headed and how they look, etc., etc. But now time to just talk about this one game. What do we need to do to succeed? What do we need to do to win? And can we start this season off on the right foot? So, Indianapolis, pretty good team last year. They made the playoffs, but they had to switch quarterbacks this offseason. They're bringing in Carson Wentz. We haven't lost to Carson Wentz before, and we're not even facing the best version of him this year. So, right off the bat, my first thought with this game is you got to get pressure on Carson Wentz. Now, you could say that about any quarterback you play against. No matter what quarterback it is, they don't want to get pressured. Every quarterback in the league is worse under pressure, worse on the run, worse when they've got a pass rusher in their face when they're trying to throw, worse when they're getting hit. But Carson Wentz, especially at this point in his career, you know he doesn't want to get hit. You know he doesn't want to get pressured. When Carson Wentz was at his best, really his second year in the league, that was by far his best season in the NFL. He was an athletic phenom for a quarterback. He defined himself on those plays where he could get away from three pass rushers, take off, and pick up a first down after breaking a tackle. He defined himself because he could get away from three pass rushers and throw the ball 40 yards down the field off his back foot to a receiver for a huge conversion that could flip a game. You feel like you got him and then you don't. That kind of stuff changes games. So you don't see that with Carson Wentz anymore. If you get pressure on him, you're probably bringing him down. The last couple times we played Carson Wentz, we got a lot of sacks on him. So that's the number one thing for me. And if you look at this Colts team, they got no Eric Fisher. And I think they're going to have Quentin Nelson, but he's probably not 100%. So that foundation of the Colts offense, the seat of their power, not what it usually is going to be. So you got to attack that offensive line, get to Wentz, and I believe good things are going to happen because once Wentz gets into those pressure-heavy situations, he will turn the ball over. Also missing on that Colts offense is T.Y. Hilton. So the best receiver the Colts have is probably Michael Pittman. And past that, they have a bunch of guys like Paris Campbell who are kind of replacement level-ish, maybe a little better than that. They're okay. They're NFL level receivers, but you can't really say too much else positive about them. So looking at that, they don't really have the receivers to attack our defensive backs because we know our cornerbacks are the weakness on this defense. We know that Trey Flowers and to a certain extent even DJ Reed are probably the weakest link of this starting defense right now. And we got guys behind them who we like, guys like Sidney Jones, John Reed, but they just got here. We don't know if they're ready yet. So the good news is in this first game at least, they don't really have the personnel to attack those defensive backs. So I believe those guys can get the job done, and I believe they'll be able to send the house at Wentz all game long without paying for it. And I believe that'll spell great things. That'll spell turnovers. That'll spell big negative plays for the Colts. And I believe that while their run game is strong, they've got some really good running backs in Indianapolis, Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines, and they've got a strong offensive line to allow that running game to be strong. I think our run defense should be up to the task. It was pretty much every game we played last year. The run defense was solid. It melted a little bit in the playoff game, but other than that, those guys held strong, and we didn't lose that much from last year. I know we lost KJ Wright, and I know that's a thing, but I can't be too worried about this Colts rushing attack, especially if we force those turnovers and we can get and we can build up a lead early and put the Colts in a situation where they feel like they have to start passing in the third quarter and especially the fourth. So we build up those turnovers, we generate short fields, and if we can capitalize on offense, which I'll get to the offense in a second here, but should be able to eliminate that Colts running game from the equation by the end of the game. We know that they're down to their third string left tackle, Julian Davenport, a career journeyman who is league average as far as swing tackles go, really should not be starting in the NFL. So, to me, the most important thing in this game is that Dunlap, Alton Robinson, Benson Mayowa, Darrell Taylor, whoever is lining up against the left tackle, Julian Davenport, from snap to snap, destroy him. And from there, good things are going to happen. Okay, that's the defense. I feel like that defense should be able to dominate the Indy offense. I do. I feel really good about the defense. So, offensively, let's talk about this offense. Indy's defense is good. They were good last year. I think they were one of the 6 or 7 best defenses in the league last year. For a while, they were number 1, and then it got away from them a little bit. But that's a good defense. However, they have lost some of their best pass rushers, particularly Justin Houston and Danico Autry. Both those guys, not there anymore. They're trying to replace them with a couple of guys they picked up in free agency that I'm not in love with, and the rookie Kwity Paye, who I think is going to be good. I know he's going to be good, but Kwity Paye, he's a rookie. This is his first ever NFL game. You usually don't see rookies come out and turn into Pro Bowl, All-Pro type players right off the bat. Especially at the pass rush position. I remember Frank Clark, first year barely did anything. Second year, he was a double-digit sack guy. So I expect us to be able to handle that. So the one guy they've got on that front line is, of course, DeForest Buckner. And that's where the problems start, because we know that we have a stiff at center. We know we've got the Kyle Fuller problem. And I'm going to go ahead right now and call it a problem, because Kyle Fuller, I don't think he's good. In fact, I think he's bad. It's not like Trey Flowers, where I will admit that Trey Flowers is probably not good, but honestly, I don't think he's actually bad. I think that there were some extenuating circumstances last year. I don't think he's bad. Kyle Fuller, I think he's bad. And if you try to use him to block DeForest Buckner, who is one of the best defensive tackles in the game, it's going to end very poorly. So you've got to scheme DeForest Buckner out of the game. You've got to use your guards, and your guards are good. You've got Gabe Jackson. You've got Damian Lewis. You've got to use those guys to make sure that he can't just go at Kyle Fuller the whole game and dominate that way. So, good opening test for this offensive coaching staff. I've seen games where the Seahawks have gone into the Rams, gone up against the Rams and just gone, okay, we're just going to single cover Aaron Donald and come what may. I've seen that before. We can't have that anymore because it always ends badly for us. It would end badly for us even if we had a good center, but we don't even have that. We have, in my opinion, the worst starter on this whole team at center. You got to make sure that he gets a lot of help. You got to make sure he's not put in situations where he can give the game away. They also got Darius Leonard on that defense, who is one of the best, maybe the best outside linebackers in the game. He's going to be a problem too, especially against the run. We know we like to run the ball. You know that Pete's thinking, I want to run the ball, but I'm not as worried about that. The main thing for me in this game is that the Colts, they don't have Xavier Rhodes, who was their best cornerback last year by a long shot, and they don't have Malik Hooker. They don't have those guys. So their secondary is not what it was last year, especially with Xavier Rhodes. I will grant you Malik Hooker got hurt too much. That's kind of why they had to move on. But to me, not having Xavier Rhodes means their best cornerback is Rock Ya-Sin. And Rock Ya-Sin is... He's got a great name, but I don't know if he's ready for this task right now. I don't know if he's ready to go up against DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. So that cornerback group for the Colts is probably worse than ours, and that's saying something. We have bad corners. They might have really bad corners without Xavier Rhodes, so you can't feel bad for him. You got to attack that secondary. You got to... I know Pete wants to run the ball, and I'm sure we will run the ball, but looking at this Colts defense, that's got to be their strength right now. They got to feel pretty good about their ability to stop the run. You got to go after their weakness. You got to go after that secondary. I see big games for Metcalf and Lockett if we call this game properly. And I think that should be enough. I do. I think that should be enough. This Colts offense is probably going to have problems. Wentz, first game with the Colts, not a new system for him, but new teammates. It's going to be a trial for him. He's probably not 100%. We're probably looking at something closer to 90%, which at some point this game is going to affect his play. You have to believe it. And same with Quentin Nelson. He's probably 90%, which is still really good, but it's not what he's used to. So I really do believe that this Seahawks team is going to get off to a good start. I think they're going to win. I don't think we're going to score enough points to blow them out. I do believe it'll be close. It might come down to the Colts having an opportunity to go tie or win the game at the very end, but I feel pretty good about this one. The stars have aligned for the Seahawks to look good in this game. The stars have aligned for the Seahawks to put their best version forward in this game because of the lack of injuries versus Indy missing at least 2 key starters in Rhodes and Eric Fisher. So I expect to win maybe 24-20. Sluggish start that we're used to. The good news is we're in a dome, so hopefully that helps the offense a little bit. But should be able to get the win. I feel pretty good about this one. Little bit of housekeeping. We did promote John Radigan to the 53-man apparently, which is kind of surprising and interesting. I don't know who we pushed off the 53-man for him, but we'll probably find out about that later today. So, little bit of a footnote there. Probably won't get on the field, but there it is. All right, I'm out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think about this game down below. I feel good about it. I do.